Straight ahead on Law&Crime Daily. The lead detective in an Iowa child kidnapping and murder case takes the stand, detailing some of the most important evidence found near the 10-year-old's remains.
Was there something that you noted about the hair that was of import to you?
There was seashells in them.
Plus, an incredulous Henry Dinkins, the prime suspect, is brought in for questioning.
Man, how I got suspicious with my own kids, man. These are my kids. You know what I'm saying?
We have gavel-to-gavel coverage of this bench trial, bringing you testimony as well as legal analysis. Law&Crime Daily, covering court cases from coast to coast. Welcome everybody to Law&Crime Daily. I'm Jesse Weber. It is the start of a new week in the bench trial of Henry Dinkins, the man accused of kidnapping and killing a 10-year-old girl. On Monday, we saw more of Dinkins' interactions with police in the hours and days after Breasia Terrell went missing. Now, Breasia and her half-brother were staying with Henry Dinkins and his girlfriend, Andrea, overnight back in 2020. Now, Dinkins is her brother's father. He's not related by blood to Breasia. But at some point, it is believed that Dinkins took Breasia from the apartment and killed her. Her disappearance prompted a massive search, but her remains weren't found until nearly a year later, when fishermen spotted her body in a pond about 25 miles away from Davenport in March of 2021. At the time, Dinkins was locked up on an unrelated charge for failing to register as a sex offender, but when Breasia's remains were found, police charged him with kidnapping and murder. The prosecution played Dinkins' police interrogation for the judge on Monday. So this is a bench trial, by the way. There's no jury.
I mean, like I said, I have no problem showing you in my phone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But I guess where's the issue of, like, you just want to dictate of what we see, or?
No, I don't. No, I just, like, you know what I'm saying? I look at it like, I don't have no problem opening my phone for you. You know what I'm saying? I really don't.
Okay.
I don't have nothing to hide in my phone from you.
Okay.
Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing at all. So that's the reason why I said I will open it for you.
Gotcha.
I just don't want nobody all in my phone. Saying how I got suspicious with my own kids, man. These are my kids.
No,
you know what I'm saying? I mean,
I'm just saying it would clear any suspicion, right?
Listen, I mean, I know you're doing your job. You know what I'm saying? And I know what you have to do. I know what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have no issues with that, period. But these are my kids, bro.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, I'm more hurt for Aisha, because, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, she had him. You know what I mean? And my baby mama, you know what I'm saying, like I said, I know she feels some type of way behind it. You know what I'm saying? But like I told her, you know what I'm saying, you know, she like, Henry, you should have had more of a watch. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never have to watch my kids like that. You know what I'm saying? Never.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I used to keep her and Bree.
Yeah.
I mean, Bree ending. You know what I'm saying? I never have to. Because my kids, you know what I'm saying, we communicate.
What do you think happened?
Big bro, I don't even know. I mean, I'm not going to even try to even put a thumb on it, a finger on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say something that I don't know. I pray to God that they find my baby. You know what I mean? Because
Okay, time to bring in my co-host and top star legal analyst, Terry Austin, Brian Buckmeyer. Brian, I'm going to start with you. We know what the prosecution is going to say with this video, right? They're going to say it's consciousness of guilt. He's talking so much. He's acting suspiciously. What can the defense do with that interrogation?
I actually think the defense can really lean into some of the, what I would consider as a new father, the negative tropes of being a father. That you're not really having an eye on the children. You're kind of doing that whole sitting on the couch watching TV, and every time it gets too quiet, you're like, hey, what you doing over there? Because he's not really paying attention to the children, and the mother of the children has every right to be angry. How dare you be watching the children and one go missing? But you can kind of play the dumb dad card, and I think a lot of people will understand and believe that. And so this video where he clearly says, these are my children, he's claiming ownership of children that are not even born to him, but he's like, just, hey, the way that I watch children is not with that eagle eye. I think a lot of parents would understand that and might not look at this as consciousness of guilt, but just being a father who doesn't quite have his eye on the ball.
Well, one of the children is actually his, right? But I guess the thing is here, Terry, he was the last, the evidence has suggested he was the last person with Breasia. She was under his care, his custody, his control. And I think you could say, obviously he did it, or did the prosecution jump to conclusions? Is this a rush to say he's to blame? So far, what you've seen in the trial, what do you think?
This is not a rush. I think they jumped to the right conclusion here. Not only was Breasia in his care and custody, he's sitting there and he's saying, you know, this is my baby, when in fact he really hasn't been with her for most of her life. And it makes it seem as though he's trying to act like he's feeling bad and people should have sympathy for him, when obviously the girlfriend saw him outside the window at 3:30 in the morning next to the car Breasia was standing. Why? Why was that happening? So I don't think the prosecution jumped to conclusions. I think they came to the exact right conclusion that this person was taking care of her, and all of a sudden now she's gone.
Assuming all that's true, because the defense has been very keen to poke at the credibility of some of these witnesses and what they saw. But we have a lot more to talk on this, because still ahead on Law&Crime Daily, our coverage of the Henry Dinkins murder case will continue. The lead detective takes the stand, revealing what he saw at the scene where Breasia Terrell's body was found and what he learned about a possible murder weapon. And welcome back to Law&Crime Daily, everybody. We're continuing our coverage now of the murder of Breasia Terrell out in Davenport, Iowa. She had been staying overnight with her half-brother's father when she was reported missing, but her body was found in a pond months later. And the lead detective described why they believe the body to be Breasia's and significant evidence regarding a gun.
It was dark by the time I got there. I was able to go from a distance, observe the skeletal remains, and there was a flip-flop that was near the remains as well, and then also some hair.
Was there something that you noted about the hair that was of import to you?
There was seashells in them. Again, another description provided by Aisha.
When her remains were recovered, were there projectiles located in the area of her remains?
There was.
Okay. By virtue of that, was the area searched for any type of casings?
Yes.
Were there any casings found?
No.
When the gun was recovered from the pond, what type of gun was it again?
Revolver.
And so then did that make sense that there were no casings found?
That would match. That'd be indicative of what we found at the scene, yes.
Okay.
All right, I want to break this down. I'll start with you, Terry. So this revolver is found near her remains, but isn't there no evidence directly linking it back to the defendant, Henry Dinkins? Like, there's no shell casings, my understanding, no fingerprints, at least that hasn't been identified, right?
That's
so
exactly right.
what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a big problem for the state. You know, they have this gun, and clearly, you know, she's only skeletal now. There's no real remains to determine the cause and manner of the death here. Obviously, it's a homicide, but that gun is not directly linked to Dinkins. They don't have him registered with a gun at all. They don't have the shell casings to say that it was that gun and it was those shell casings. So they're missing some important evidence here to say that Dinkins was the one who actually shot her with that gun. He may have other guns, but they can't say whether or not this is the gun that was found next to her. And they can't match any other gun. So, you know, it's a missing gun case. It doesn't mean we won't get a conviction. It just means they are missing that piece of evidence.
Let's talk about that, because if this was in front of a jury, we could say, you know, that you need one holdout for a hung jury. This is a bench trial. There's one trier of fact here. There's one person that they have to convince, and I keep wondering as we listen to this, was it a wise decision on the part of the defense to opt for a bench trial, meaning having the judge and not a jury?
I mean, hindsight is 20/20. If the defense goes up and wins this case, and I say, as I'm going to say right now, I think this would have been better as a jury trial than a bench trial, the defense gets to turn around and say, Brian, you were wrong, I won the case. But we'll wait to see what the verdict comes out. when I think of a bench case, or bench trial, sorry, I think of a case of like, for example, and I know we did this case in the past, and please tell me the one that it is, where like, you can't really determine if the person killed someone, but there's allegations of like sexually assaulting a dead body. I don't want to be the defense attorney arguing to a jury, it's not rape if the body is dead. Like, that's not a conversation when I told people. That's a conversation you want to have with a judge, because that's a very technical argument. Here, I don't see the technical arguments that I think I would want only for a judge to decide. I see arguments that 12 people might not be all on the same page with. The gun. Is he being shady in this interrogation? These are questions that I want 12 people to battle over, and I might just get one holdout to win. I don't think this is the case that a defense wants a jury trial, wants a bench trial. I think I would have gone for a jury trial.
I agree with you. I would think more of a bench trial would be like a Michelle Carter case, where there was a discrete legal issue about whether text messages would constitute manslaughter. She was ultimately convicted there, but I see what your point is.